Congratulate you on such a special day. We thank God for giving us a beautiful day that we celebrated Muse's milestone.
By going to the school system, I benefited a great deal through reading the Bible, studying history, geography, nature study, which later on turned out to be science, biology, politics, etc. By 1956, still at Chamate Primary School in Primary 4, I had started following global events. Through a Nyankole language newspaper, Wamanya, I followed the Suez Crisis and the resignation of Anthony Eden as the Prime Minister of UK. We had a newspaper called Wamanya, and by reading it I was able to follow this story of the Suez Crisis of 1956. There was a globe in one of the classrooms. I was surprised to see much of the globe colored red, which showed the expanse of the then Soviet Union. Who were the USSR? We were told that Russia, as the Banyankore were calling it, they were not calling it Russia, but Russia, or Russia, was a very powerful country. Still at Chamate, through the wonderful Wamanya, I partially followed the story of the Uganda football team that went to England to play football barefooted, a phenomenon that surprised the British. By the time I arrived in Mbara High School in 1959 for Junior Secondary 1, I had mastered all the indigenous technology of cattle keeping and crops husbandry. You people, you underestimate, because I can see why many people make mistakes. They don't have a base, they're just there, Burikija Kibatwala, but the traditional grounding in our indigenous economy make me very confident that there is nothing you cannot do. However, when I visited the Mbarara stock farm, I discovered that we needed to upgrade our production practices, introduce rotational grazing, fencing our land, what Honorable John Kawanga was talking about, killing ticks, growing crops in lines. Banyankuru were not growing crops in line, they were just planted zigzag. Making water retention trenches in the gardens, Empazo, etc. When I went to Ntungamo for the April holidays, I told my father about this gap. The 8 years I spent in Mbarara added a lot to my knowledge and attitudes. I knew a lot about the whole world, the Greek Empire, the Roman Empire and its collapse, the Egyptian civilization, the Dark Ages in Europe, the Renaissance, the steam engine, the Industrial Revolution, the slave trade, colonialism, etc. Therefore, by 1966, when I was 22 years old and had just finished the A-level, I had 6 positions in my head. First, I was an expert indigenous wealth creator who had now been exposed to more science, the invisible world of the microbes that were both for evil, like the germs, or for good, like the fermentation, bacteria, and digestion. The barbed wire, sengenge, to control the movement of cattle instead of Museveni being the barbed wire to control the cattle that I had been for most of my life. Because I was the sengenge for our cows. Stop them from going into people's gardens. I'm the one who had to stop them. The only time I've been in court was when I was diverted for football with some other children, and the cows entered somebody's garden, and they started eating the crops, the millet. By the time I came, they had eaten the millet, so I had committed the offense of oponesa, when your cows damage crops. So I was taken to court, Murka court, under Umtoma, under a ficus tree. And my father coached me, he said, when you go there, you say, Umshango Ninguichiriza. When you go there, you say, I plead guilty. If you do that, it will be easier for you. That's what I did. This was in 1956 when I went to that court. So, by visiting stock farm, I could see that fencing would make with barbed wire would make our life much easier.